Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today's match preview has a lot more significance than I ever would imagine. A home game against Motherwell, which means so much more than what initially you would have thought back at the start of the season. But after a nightmare result against Ferencvaros on Wednesday night there, you know, we've got a lot to pick up on, a lot to improve on. If Lennon wants fans back in his side, then we're going to need a big result. But we'll talk about everything in this video. We'll talk about my preview, my predictions, Motherwell, the opposition, right after the intro, please. Of course, it's the first game back at Celtic Park in the league since we beat Hamilton 5-1 on the opening game of the season. It's been quite a while, you know, we've had to wait due to certain circumstances, and, you know, we've come off the back of a horrid result, you know, a nightmare on Wednesday night there against Ferencvaros. I'll do it one day, that's how you say it. Ferencvaros. A nightmare result against Ferencvaros. 3, 2, 1. A nightmare result. I've actually laughed at how many times this has took. Of course, this is the first game back at Celtic Park in the league since the opening game of the season against Hamilton due to circumstances that we all know about. We've had to wait a while for this, and we're coming off the back of what is a nightmare. A result that we didn't expect, knocked out the Champions League by the Hungarian champions, which has left the Celtic social world anyway in a bit of a toxic state. People are on the back of Neil Lennon, people demanding that we make change at the club and get Lennon out. There's really a big, you know, just this big cloud of uncertainty over Celtic fans at the minute, and it's a really horrid thing to think about. You know, when we won the league last year, this is the last thing I would expect it to say 4 games into the domestic season, but here we are, we find ourselves in this situation and we just need to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off and move on. But there is no denying, as much as I will sit here and say I'm not quite on that sack Lennon bandwagon, I think people are overreacting. I think there's an exaggeration of the biggest proportions on that side of things, but Lennon does have to make changes and it has to start now, and against Motherwell we need to make a statement of the weekend. We need to go out there and we need to score goals. We need to show that there is no doubt we're still the best team in the country, because the way that the Celtic fans are going on Twitter and Facebook and all the other media outlets, you know, you'd think it's the end of the world. You'd think we're getting relegated, for God's sake, the way it's going. So it's a massive game at the weekend for Neil Lennon. Of course, a lot of questions surrounding players who want to be at the club, who don't want to be at the club. It's just been a mental week. And if you asked me this exact day last week, you know, after we beat Reykjavik 6-0 and we're going into a game against Dundee United, you would never have seen this coming. You know, it was not a possibility in the mind of me. I thought that we would have got on just fine against Ferencvaros, but here we are. We find ourselves in a situation which is unfortunate, and we just need to try and forge on from it. Lennon has got the fans, you know, on a really split position right now. You know, you've got half saying that we're rotten, but there's no need for change. You've got the other half saying we're rotten and there is need for change. There's a really big divide right now, especially in my comment section. It's absolutely crazy looking in there to see some of the opinions from Celtic fans, and I think it's ridiculous that people want Lennon gone. As I said in the video yesterday, I think everybody is entitled to their opinion, but I think we're just being a bit hasty. I think we've got to let the season go on a bit. We had a nightmare start last season. We have a chance to pick it up now. This is where we need to look at ourselves, on the pitch, off the pitch, and fix everything that's gone wrong in these opening few weeks. Of course, people are complaining about the fact we drew with Kilmarnock, we narrowly beat Dundee United, we're now out the Champions League. It has been a disastrous month in terms of, you know, football on the park, but that all comes from a lot of the stuff happening off the park as well. So on both sides of things, we need to pick ourselves up and fix whatever's went wrong. And Lennon's the biggest part of that, I would say. Now, Lennon has to single-handedly take the responsibility for that loss on Wednesday night. There is no way you can go out in a Champions League game without a striker playing and expect to just win the game easily. No. They took the game, it's fair play to them. You know, they beat us fairly squarely. You know, we weren't effective enough in the final third. We weren't clinical, we weren't taking our chances. Our team selection was rotten and we didn't make a sub till the 77th minute. This is where Lennon needs to change it. That has to be the wake-up call. I can understand people wearing thin impatience with Lennon because of stuff like that, but it's only a matter of time before everybody loses their patience, myself included, if it keeps going the way it does. This weekend, Lennon has to make the systematic change on the park. There has to be a difference. There has to be 2 men up front. There's got to be something. The 3-5-2, we've been saying week in, week out, every preview I've done for the games, let's get back into using it. We've seen, when we came back from Dubai in January and we switched to that system, it was absolutely, we were scoring goals for fun. So why suddenly have we dropped it? Have we dropped it because Griffiths isn't in the team anymore? We dropped it, why? Now, I tried to give my excuses to why we might not have played it the last few weeks, because we've lost depth in the team. We've not seen the likes of Jozo Simonovic being replaced. We haven't quite seen a match fit Ajeti. But by the way we're playing in the opening to this season, and after Wednesday especially, there is no more excuses. We need to go back to a system that's going to work. And the system that Lennon's playing right now is not working. So we need to make that big change. And he needs the fans back in his side. I think fans will be unhappy with anything less than a 2-goal, 3-goal win this weekend. Motherwell have had a nightmare start to the season. We'll come on to the opposition in a moment, but we need to go out and score. If we win 1-0, if we drop points first of all, it'll be an absolute disaster. At that point, I can see everybody just, jumping off the high flats or something. But the fact is, if we don't win by 2 or 3 goals, I just think there's got to be a meltdown once again. So we need to go out with a bit of authority, we just need to be vindictive. We need to go out there with a kind of vengeance to prove people wrong. Will we get it? I'm not too sure, because with the performances we've had so far this season, apart bar Hamilton and Reykjavik, we haven't looked as though we want to go out and score goals. We're taking chances, we're missing chances, should I say, and then we just sit and kind of wait. It's annoying, and Lennon needs to get fans back in his side. We need goals. One of the main talking points going into this game was actually Neil Lennon's press conference this morning. And that is about the players who apparently want to leave the club. Now, Neil Lennon came out after the game on Wednesday night and said, look, there's players that have wanted to leave the club for the last 6 months. It's been bugging me. I want to get it off my chest. And we don't know what's going to happen. Then news broke yesterday that apparently Christopher Ayer and Olivier Ncham's agents had went to Peter Law to get a valuation of the players to perhaps find them a move elsewhere. Then this morning, Neil Lennon comes out at a complete different change of tone. And says that the players will still be included in the teams. He still intends on using them. And it's weird. It's just the press conference this morning was all over the place. It was a shambles. I'd seen a tweet summing up perfectly. Somebody tried to ride a bike and it's got a bit like that. It was just a mess. And I feel like that it is quite worrying that there is this sense of confusion at the club to do with players' futures. If players don't want to be here, let it be known who they are. And I just don't understand where Neil Lennon's plans for them are. Is he intending on just forcefully keeping them here against their will? Is he looking for them to get a move? There's just so much confusion ahead of it all that I don't really know where the players and where the management stand on the situation. I wish there was a much clearer image of what we should be expecting in terms of perhaps players leaving the club and who we could be potentially replacing them with, and if we are looking at replacements. If we lose Ayer and Ncam, right, okay, we've brought in Turnbull, we perhaps might bring in Duffy, but we're back to square one. We've just replaced 2 players leaving with 2 players coming in. We still need depth in the squad, so I would like a much clearer image of what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Lennon coming out and saying he's intending using them doesn't tell us anything about their future. That just comes out to me as Neil Lennon saying, well, I still want to play our best players. Look, if those players, if it is Ayer and Ncam and whoever else, apparently Eddie's still on the fence of enjoying Celtic, so let's leave him out of the equation for now. But if Ayer and Ncam are still willing to play their best for Celtic, I've got no problem with that. Keep them in the team. But what's happening? I want to know moving forward. I think the fans deserve to know what situation the club lies in when it comes to the most important season in their club's history. There's still over a month in this transfer window, which means that these players may stay, they may go. There's too long to tell. There's been no really any leaks or rumours floating about that suggests heavily they could be off. I'm happy to see them staying in the team because they're 2 of the best players in that starting 11, especially Olivier Ncam. We've gotten to lose them. So hopefully we can influence them to stay. But we need to play good football and there has to be a change on the pitch for that to happen. Lennon's got to start Ncam. We've got to start with a system that's going to win games and win games with ease. That's got to start this weekend. On to the opposition then. Motherwell, our record against them last season, absolutely superb. I have my stat sheet in front of me now. Look at this. 3 games, 2 away from home, 1 at Celtic Park, a 5-2 win in the second game of the season at Firth Park, a 2-0 win at Celtic Park, and a 4-0 win away from home again at Firth Park. We absolutely battered them when we played them last season, which is great. And also, coming into this game, Motherwell's league form, oh my goodness, God almighty, they've had a nightmare. Stephen Robinson, what's happened? The collapse of the team who finished 3rd last season. No wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. The most recent domestic game being a 1-0 loss to Hamilton at Firth Park as well. An absolute disaster of a start for Stephen Robinson, coming into a season where they had so much promise and so much to play for, considering he didn't get that Northern Ireland job. He chose to stay at Motherwell. They were coming off the back of finishing third, they're back in Europe, and then it just goes like that. But how? How has it happened? Suggesting those results to you sounds like we should be battering Motherwell at the weekend. You know, we should. I said in my video for the Champions League game that we shouldn't be going into any game just expecting to win. You know, that's the mindset that gets us so disappointed, that we go into these games with expectations that we automatically should be winning them. But the way Motherwell are playing, they have no right to come to Celtic Park and get a result at the weekend. And if that happens, then perhaps I'll get out my panic jacket, we bomb shelter at the back. I don't know. We cannot drop points to Motherwell this weekend. After the start of the season, I've had, of course, last night a fantastic result for them, a 5-1 win against Glentoran at Fir Park in the Europa League qualifiers. But this is completely different. Stephen Robinson will, of course, be hungry to get something here to show that it's not as bad as it looks in the Motherwell side of things. But there is no way there can be any justification for Motherwell coming to Celtic Park and getting a result at the weekend. And if our players have any idea of what is going through the fans' heads just now, and I'm sure they will be out there to make a statement at the weekend. And they have to. Not just because they want to, they have to. And Neil Lennon has to understand that. The players have to understand that. There is just so much doubt and there is so much... it's just negativity within the Celtic support this week that this is the chance to go out and just get it all out in the park. Score 10 goals, please, just do it. Of course, another major talking point about the opposition is the loss of David Turnbull. Who's he went to? Oh, I can't think. Oh, aye, us. David Turnbull signing for Celtic earlier in the week. Motherwell losing by far their best player, and that's another thing. I was lucky enough to watch Motherwell play Hamilton last week. That's 2 weeks in a row I've been able to do that. I watched Dundee United the week before we played them, and I watched Motherwell the week before we played them here. So, you know, I have an idea what to talk about. Everything went through Turnbull. Motherwell were absolutely hopeless against Hamilton. They were terrible. Shocking. The only player who turned up for Motherwell was David Turnbull. He is now gone. Will he make his debut for Celtic against them? I feel like he could come on coming into the game. I think he should. I don't think he'll start the game, but I think he could come on. Look, he was brilliant for Motherwell at the weekend. The only player who looked lively, the only player willing to make opportunities, and he looked really creative, and that's why I like that asset for Celtic. What he was doing moving forward, going up the park for Motherwell, was fantastic. It was the complete attacking dynamic for them. It was just everything. It all went through him. He was taking chances when the team looked dead, and that's what Celtic need. They need a player like that. Because when the game goes dead, we don't know what to do. Turnbull's the kind of player to pick us up, get chances made, take it upon himself to go and do something. But Motherwell have lost that now. So they've found themselves in a position where they've lost their best player. Their domestic start to the season has been terrible. The confidence after last night's probably brought up a little bit. But then again, what can they do at Celtic Park? We should be dismantling them. This has went on a lot longer than I thought, so I'm going to quickly get into my starting 11 and my score predictions. It's got to be the 3-5-2. This has got to be the weekend, and if Lennon doesn't name the 3-5-2 from the start of the game, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what I'll think. If we go out, play a 4-2-3-1, and yes, we do win 3-4-0 or something, then great. Okay, I'll give it a bye for now, but we need to change that system, and we've got to play the 3-5-2. We've got to see strikers getting a chance that we've paid money for. That comes to Kamara and Ayeti. We can't leave them on the bench much longer. Ayeti must be near match sharp now to start a game. He's got to be. Even if he just starts and plays 45-60 minutes, it's better than nothing. Better than sitting on the bench. So I think we're going to have, of course, the big man with Silas Barkas in goals. We've got to go for it. I think we're going to have Julian, Beaton and El Ahmed as the back three. That's what I think we might get there. I don't think Iro will start after all the talk midweek. Although he's not done anything that much wrong in the game midweek, but I think that'll be the three starting in the middle. Frimpong has to come in. Forrest has to be dropped again. Forrest was absolutely rotten midweek, so I'd bring Frimpong into the right hand side. Taylor on the left hand side, of course. The middle three of Ncham. I know I said Ayer will be dropped for reasons because of what's happened midweek, but Ncham can't be dropped. He can't. I said it in the three things we learned. If we drop Ncham, it's a crime. He was the best player in the park, maybe perhaps Mohamed El Younousi. Perhaps. What a player. And Cham has to start the game. It's simple as that. And Cham, Brown and McGregor, I think, will start alongside them. And I think McGregor will probably sit the deeper out of the two, him and Cham. And then up front, I think, as much as I said, get a striker on, get a Yeti on, I don't think it'll happen. I think El Yunusi and Edouard will probably start up top together. Edouard should hopefully be back. If not, then perhaps we will see a Yeti and El Yunusi start up top, but hopefully Edouard will be match fit and hopefully he'll come in because we need him. We missed him on Wednesday night. We need him back in that squad. And for the score prediction, look, if the Celtic team and Neil Lennon himself know what this week's been like for the fans, we'll go out and score. I'm going to go 3-0 Celtic. Might sound ambitious considering how badly we're playing, but I've got faith that they'll pick this up. I do. I want to remain loyal. I want to remain, no loyal. I want to remain faithful. I want to remain optimistic. And if I get let down, I get let down, but we'll go for it. Anyway, if you've enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed the match preview and predictions. Make sure to share as well. We are growing at a massive rate right now in the channel, and it is absolutely superb, and I love it. So, hail teaser. And see you all next time.